Hello student, today we will start our second unit, that is RMI Solid. So in previous session we just discussed about the what is J2EE architecture, how you can communicate with database using Java application, which are the different types of drivers are available to communicate with different databases, and the Java database connectivity for the to communicate with the database. And we also see that different Java programs which is used to fetch the data from the database, to insert the data, or many more different types of JDBC programs. Now we see that RMI. First of all, what is RMI and why it is used? So RMI is remote method invocation. As the name suggests, that remotely we have to call any method, or we have to perform any task which is held any remote system or any remote PC. So this is the basic application of the RMI. So RMI is generally the concept for the distributed computing. There are different types of computing architectures are there. Among them, there are main two types are there. First one is centralized computing, second one is distributed computing. We can say that in the centralized computing, one PC is connected with the different system, and it is worked as a client server computing, while in distributed computing all the different system work as individual client and individual server, and you can also share this data among all the connected PC. So this is the basic scenario which is defined in the RMI or any distributed computing. So RMI is one of the technology to conduct distributed computing. So first of all, what is RMI? So RMI is an API. RMI is an API that provides a mechanism to create distributed application in Java. So this is the basic API which provides the distributed computing, and it is also used to perform any distributed application when you used Java application. So RMI is the technology which allows the client to remote object communication and object to object communication between different JVM. So we can say that it is a technology which is used to communicate when your client PC is or any object which is remotely defined, or any remotely specified it in your environment or in your network environment. So it is used to communicate object to object communication or client to remote object communication between different JVM. So it is provide remote communication between programs written in Java programming language. It must define that when you communicate with the different objects, or when you communicate with the different architecture, so it is basically defined that the programs written in Java programming languages. Then we can say that what are the goals of RMI. So main goal of the RMI is to and that you can minimize the difference between working with local and remote object, or you can say that to minimize the complexity of application. So if we does not use RMI or any distributed computing, then we can say that there are different complexity or problems arise, like you have to just pass the data from different using centralized computing, and there are the many disadvantages when you use the centralized computing. For example, if any one PC, or if any one system has occur any problem, so it is your all the data is also lost, or you can say that your whole the application become problematic, or you can face the different problems if any centralized system connected or any connected system that is dependent in the centralized computing has faced any problem. So these are the different disadvantages of centralized computing. So to overcome these problems, we use distributed computing. So there are the different goals of RMI. So among them, one of is that to preserve type safety. So you can say that when you use RMI, you have to just define that type safety. So you can also use for the distributed garbage collection using RMI. So these are the goals of RMI application. Distributed computing refers to that application concept which contains the process and actual computation that distributed over the network. First of all, we see that RMI is used in the distributed computing. So distributed computing, we can say that it is a application concept. So in this concept, you can communicate with the different system using distributed or actual computation can be performed throughout the network. So this is done to increase the processing power of multi-computer or to inherit the functionality of different module. So when you use distributed computing, there are the several advantages you can gain from the distributed computing. For example, that you can apply multi-computing and you can access the different modules when the distributed computing is in working mode. So RMI is the best example for the distributed module, and it is divided into two parts. So first one is the client part and the second is server part. As we all know that server part is used to access the request and generate the response and send back to the client. So server program creates some remote object and makes the reference to them and waits for the client request to invoke methods of the on the remote objects. It means that as simply we can simplify this process, that when you request for the data, then from any system you gain any response from that request. So its system works as your server. So same as in the RMI, there are different applications, or we can say that there are different functionalities are defined in some systems. When you have to use this functionality, you just have to call this functionality from that system. So this the basic task is done, and this system which contains this functionality is worked as a server. So we can say that it is not we specify that one system is worked as only client and one system is only worked as a server. It is not specified. You can you can use both the system as a client and the server, because both the system have some functionalities which is used for the communication when any request is or when you need any data. So this is the basic concept of the client and server system in RMI. A client application get a remote reference to one or more remote object from the server and invoke the methods on them. So we can say that what is client? So client is the one type of application which have the remote reference, or we can say that which have access of the object which reside at the server side. So you can say that this is the basic approach of client server in RMI application. So a remote object, what we see that a remote object. So what is the remote object? So remote object is an object whose method can be invoked from another JVM, which can be stub or skeleton. So in the RMI there are two types of objects are there. First one is stub and the second one is skeleton. So in the remote object, at the client side or at the client machine, the object worked as a stub, and at the server side the object resides. It is known as for skeleton. So this stub and skeleton objects are worked as a remote object and to communicate with the client and the server. So there are different two types of objects are there which work as a remote object. So first one is stub. So what is stub? It is an object that resides at client side and act as a gateway when the caller invokes method on the stub object, and it does the different perform the following task, like to initiate the connection with the JVM, then it writes and transmit the parameters to the remote virtual machine, it waits for the result, it reads the return value and or exception, and finally returns the value to the caller. So we can see that the stub is nothing but a one type of object that resides at only client side. When you want to communicate with the server or any remote object, that object is used and it invoke the method which is you have to call at the server side. So this is the basic task is performed by the stub, or we can say that remote object at client side. And there are different tasks also performed by the stub. So in among all the things stub perform like that, initiate the connection with the remote virtual machine. It means that when the client have to fetch any data, or when client sends a request to the server, it initiated by the stub object. So for example, we can say for example, your friend has any type of books, right? And you want to just borrow that book from that friend. So what are you doing? You just call your friend and ask for that book, yeah? So you just initiate the thing, or you just initiate the connection with your remote object or your remote friend, right? So this is the initiating the connection performed by the stub object. Then second thing what is performed by the stub object, that is it writes and transmit the parameters to the remote virtual machine. It means that when you want to access the functionality of the server side or the remote object, then at that time you have to pass parameters of that particular functionality. So it means that in our friend example, we can say that you want to borrow your book from the friend, then you have to pass the details of that book, right? So you just specified that the author name is that and the title name of the book is that, right? So you just give the parameters to the remote object. So this also can be done by the stub object. Then it waits for the result. So third task is done like the waits for the result. You just pass the information to your friend. Now your friend say that you just have to wait, I'll check that your book is there or not, or or I have that type of book or not. So this thing is just the same process at the stub or skeleton. Then the next task performed by the stub is that it reads the return value or exception. In this we can say that when you communicate in the remote network or distributed networks, you just don't have to pass the parameters as it is. You have to just apply some conversion, or we can say that some encryptions can be performed by the communication process. So this thing is defined as the marshalling and unmarshalling. So what is the marshalling and unmarshalling process? When the parameter is, we see that the parameter is passed from the stub to skeleton, or we can say that from one object to remote object. So we don't know that what is the environment or what are the different features are available for the different JVMs or different environment. In the RMI, you pass the parameter that is situated in one system, and this parameter is passed to the another system and another environment which is remotely existed. So in this process you have to just marshalling and unmarshalling, or we can say that encryption and decryption process you have to perform to pass the parameter which is appropriated for that environment. For example, we can say that when you run any application in your mobile and when you run any application in your system. So there are some differences you can see that when you run your application in PC and when you run your application in mobile system. So this is the basic thing that some functionalities may be changed. You see that the major is functionality like the resolution, right? When you run your any application in PC and when you run your any application in your mobile, you see that there are the resolution is changed, appropriated to mobile and appropriated to your PC. So this is the basic task that can be performed when in which environment your application is run. So same thing is performed as the same in stub and skeleton because when you call that functionality at the client side from the server side, the environment is also changed because the communication is done between different networks, or we can say that there are different JVMs are available in the network. So according to that JVMs, you have to pass that parameter and that marshalling and unmarshalling procedure you have to done. So these things are performed by the stub and skeleton, and at the last you just get the value from the caller, or we can say that at the remote object. So this all the things are performed by the stub. Now the second object that is remotely held at the server side, it is skeleton. So skeleton is an object resides at server side and acts as a gateway. When the skeleton receives the incoming request, it does the following task. So it is the same as the stub, but the difference is that it is reside at the server side, and when the request is coming from the stub, it performs the execution of that request that is done by the remotely, or we can say that a remote system. So what are the tasks can be performed by the skeleton? First one is that it reads the parameter for the remote method. As we all know, or we see that the functionality or the method which you want to access from the remote object, that is called by the other PC, or we can say that stub object. So at that time this request is passed to the skeleton. So what is the task can be performed by the skeleton? That it receives that request and see that what are the parameters for the remotely method, or what are the parameters are given from the stub which is executed for the any method that is remotely held. Then this after accessing this remotely method or reads the parameter thing, it demarshals, or we can say that unmarshals the request and parameter. Then the actual parameter is defined in the skeleton side and executed this all the things, or the parameter or method is fetched from this existing system, and the method is also sent back to the client. So this all the thing is done by the stub and skeleton objects. So this is the basic process done when you working with the RMI, or when you working with stub and skeleton object. In the stub and skeleton object, there is the remotely network, or we can say the distributed network, or any network which is reside, that through that network the data is passed, or the parameters of the method is passed from one system or from one machine to another machine. So this the basic thing is done by the RMI. RMI provides, now we see that what are the different object, or what are the main components when you create any RMI application. So RMI provides the mechanism by which server and client communication and pass information back and forth. So it means that to communicate with the client and server, RMI is used, and such application is CS, Distributed Object Application, DOA. So in this application, the communication is done through distributed networks. So that distributed network or distributed object, that's why this application is named as a distributed object application. When you come or when you see that any distributed object application, there are some things is always there. So first one is local remote object, second one is communicate with remote object, and the third one is load class definition for object that are passed around. So what is the local remote object? So an application can use various mechanisms to obtain reference to remote objects. For example, an application can register its remote objects with RMI registry, and alternatively an application can pass and return a remote object reference as part of other remote invocations. So local remote object, it is the same as our stub and skeleton. For the local remote object, at the client side stub is there, and at the server side local remote object is skeleton is there. So when you use this RMI application or this mechanism, you have to obtain that reference which is used to call the method from the remote objects. So this is the basic object to communicate from client to server in distributed application. So in our application there is a stub is there, and stub and skeleton is there. So we can just say that there is a registry, remote registry is available, RMI registry is available, and it is a register that a remote object which is reside at the client side and which is reside at the server side. So using that RMI registry, you can communicate and you can pass and the parameters and get the data from the remote system. The second object is communicate with remote object. So all communication between remote object is handled by RMI, and remote communication looks similar to regular Java method invocation. For example, we can see that when you execute any method in any application, what are the procedure you perform. That for example, in our C program, we see that we use number of functions. For example, there is the function ABC is there, and you just want to execute or you just want to call that function in the main function. So what are the procedure you done? That you just declare that the ABC function is there. Then after you define the main method, and in main method you just call that ABC function. Then after you just give the definition of ABC function. So in the main function, what is the procedure can be done? That in the main function you just call that ABC function. So when the ABC function is called, the controller, or we can say that the program flow is converted to that definition of the ABC function, and the statements which are reside in the ABC function is executed, and again your workflow or program flow is moved or written back to the your main program. So this is the all the basic tasks can be performed in your simple application or simple C program. So same this thing is also done when the remote application is performed, but there is the difference that the functions which is reside at only other system or any other application, while in your C program you just see that your function is reside in your consistent program. So this is the basic difference in the we can say that distributed system, because in the distributed system the function which you want to work with is reside at remotely. So you just have to call that function and you just pass that parameter appropriately for that function which is resided remotely. You just have to call that function, right? So and pass the parameter, and then it is execution, or we can say that the code of that function is written back to the system and executed and perform the task. So this is the basic method invocation which is done by any program. This is the same thing is performed in RMI. Then the third is that load class definition for objects that are passed around. Because RMI enables object to be passed back and forth, it provides mechanism for loading an object class definition as well as for transmitting an object's data. So as we discussed that when you call the functions, the class definition is also loaded from that object, using that object from the RMI system or remotely situated system. So you just have to define that class definition which is reset at the remote system, and it is loaded from that current system. So this the three basic things it is performed when the distributed object application is performed, or we can or any type of distributed object application is performed. These three things are must be performed in the application. So this is the basic task. This is the basic task, or we can say that this is the basic introduction part which is performed in the RMI. In the next session, we see that what is the RMI architecture, how it can be worked, and what are the different layers are there, and how you can communicate with different layers, and to communicate with the data transfer from one system to another system using RMI.